can't believe it's been another reading month and the month is already gone. We are now officially in December, so that means it's time for our November reading wrap up. So I actually read 11 books this month. I'm pretty sure I read 11. I'm gonna double check that, put it here on the screen if I'm wrong, but I can't believe I read 11 books this month. It's not quite the best reading month I've ever had. Obviously the month prior, October, I read 15, which is just absolutely crazy. I didn't even realize I read that many. So this month I feel like I did pretty good considering I had a few hiccups here and there that kind of prohibited me from being able to read, but all in all we had a pretty good reading month. So let's get into the books that I did read in the month of November. Starting off strong, we read The Love Contract by Steph Vizard. Now this actually is an Australian author. I actually really thoroughly enjoyed this book. That makes sense, okay? I really enjoyed this book. I actually gave it, I gave this book 4 stars from memory. I will double check that. Hang on, I will double check that. Let's look on my Goodreads. Yeah, I gave it 4 stars. So this was actually the book that I started off this month. I did give it 4 stars. I loved it. It was basically about like a single mom who decided to journey on single parenting on her own. So basically she did IVF, but there's like a whole nother kind of plot story to that. And she gets help from her next door neighbor. They fall in love, yada, yada, yada. So good. I really love the fact that this was based in Australia because a lot of the books I read are like America based, and this one I just really liked the fact that it was based in Melbourne. So I highly recommend. I've never heard of this author before. Next book I read was Iron Flame. This was a big one to get through. I don't actually have my physical copy because my sister's borrowing it at the moment. I feel like this read kind of tricked me. Yes, okay, so the thing is, my take on like hype of books is, I will give it the hype if I feel like it deserves it. I loved Fourth Wing. I loved Fourth Wing. This one I really expected to like, and I did initially like it at first. I was like, oh my god, yes, 5 stars, 5 stars. The more I've sat on it and thought about it throughout this month, I can honestly say that this was probably like a 3.5 star book. And yes, I really did succumb to the hype. I said on Goodreads 5 stars. I regret that now. The ending was a 5-star ending. Don't get me wrong. It was an amazing ending. Just so many bits throughout this book that just dragged. I kind of really got annoyed towards Violet's immaturity in some points. That really annoyed me. I really feel like Zayden took this book home, to be totally honest. I feel like if his character wasn't in it, I probably would have not read the book. So as I said, initially I gave it 5 stars, but we're scratching that. 3.5 star read. I'm not really excited about book number 3 now, to be totally honest. So, yeah, I'd love to know your reflections on what you thought of Iron Flame. Let me know below what you thought of that, but yeah, in reflection, I would give it 3.5 stars. So the next book I read was Into the Tide, which is a Cottonwood Cove series, and it's by Laura Pavlov, which I was recommended Laura Pavlov's books for a really long time. Everyone said like it's like small town romance, it's very similar to like Elsie Silver's writing. I personally wouldn't say that. Did I like this book? I'm not sure. I'm not sold. I don't want to say I'm not going to read more of her writing because maybe it was just the first book I didn't really like that much. There was just some tropes in it that I was like, oh, not really a fan of that trope. One of them being the virginity trope. I don't like virginity tropes, guys. I honestly don't understand the concept behind them. Why authors kind of like romanticize virginity tropes. And the reason I'm saying that is because I feel like there's so much like stigma as a young woman to feel like we have to hold on to this like virginity, and that it's this, I don't know, there's so much construct around it. I could literally go on a hospital about this. I just don't like the virginity trope. I think it's so pointless in books, and I don't know why it's so romanticized by authors. That's just what I'm saying. I don't understand the concept of that. But I gave this 3 stars. It wasn't a terrible read. I just didn't like it as much as I thought I would. And as I said, so many people recommended me Laura Pavlov's writing, and yeah, I don't know. I just didn't really like it. This was like brother's best friend. I eat that trope up usually. I usually love a brother's best friend. I didn't really like that one. Anyway, and I did read this on Kindle, so I don't have a physical copy of it. I will read some more of her writing. She's not one I'm going to jump to read pretty quickly. You know what I mean? This book after that was Airfire in the Throne of Glass series. I loved this one. It was a little bit slower for me. So what did I rate it again? I rated this 4 stars. I wouldn't say this is like my favorite book so far in this series. Crown of Midnight is still my favorite. Currently reading Queen of Shadows. I can see that it's about to start raining, so I'm going to try and get through this reading wrap up really quickly because I want to continue to film outside. I'm currently reading Queen of Shadows. I'm about 200 pages in and I'm really enjoying it. This one I felt like was introducing new characters. It was introducing new places. Like not all the characters were in the same place anymore. I do actually have a reading vlog on this book in particular. So I'm doing a reading vlogs on every single one of the Throne of Glass books. Go check that out. Spoiler free, of course, because we're not about that. Not my favorite out of all of the books so far. Every book in this series 100% has a purpose. I do think this one was a transitional one, so I did really enjoy it still. The next one was Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey, my first Christmas book. Did I enjoy this? No. I need to elaborate on that. Do I think this is worth your money? No. I don't know if I'm a big fan of Christmas books, so it could be that, but I did give this one 2 stars. I was probably being nice. I probably give it 1.5 stars. I just didn't like it, like the connection. I feel like it could have gone somewhere. Sorry, Tessa, I love you so much, but like I just didn't really like this one. You know, from me, don't really recommend. There's a book that I did DNF this month, and I don't do that very often. There's only been like 2 other books I've DNF before. The next one I read, Off Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. Oh my god, this book was honestly amazing. I gave this 1 stars. Yeah, 4 stars. I love this. I thought it was so good. This is my first STEM romance, and it will not be my last. So yeah, I can confirm I do love Ali Hazelwood's writing. So good. Smart scenes were amazing. Loved the connection between these 2 characters. Something a little bit different. I really loved it. Highly recommend. Then the next book after that was King of Wrath. I get the hype. I get the mafia hype now, okay? I was like, I don't really like mafia romance. I was wrong. I was very wrong. Dante, is it Dante Russo? Yeah, Dante Russo. I have no words. Oh, ooh, hot. He's really hot. I love the characters in this book. I loved Vivian. I'm pretty sure it was Vivian. Yep. Vivian and Dante together, like ultimate couple. I love this. I thought it was so good. My camera died. You think I would learn my lesson by now that when I do reading wrap-ups or record anything, I should charge the camera. I loved this one, Marriage for Convenience. I can't remember what I gave this. I'm pretty sure I gave this 4 stars, and I really love this series so far. No, I left the other one inside. Okay, I'm gonna go get the other one. I loved this. I can see the hype. I did read the following one, King of Pride, in this. Okay, those cockatoos were very dramatic. Welcome to living in Australia. The birds talk for you. I did read King of Pride, which I will get to this series. Not like it as much as I liked this one. I think this one's definitely the elite one in this series. Yet to read King of Greed. That's another one I want to read because it's like 3 books in the series. I don't know what that one's called when it's 3 books in the series. I don't know, my brain's not working today. But I like this book, absolutely. I do think you could read this as a standalone. I don't think you have to read the other ones in the series. This one, so far, in my opinion, has been the best one in the series. Let's talk about the book that I did in fact DNF this month, and that was Assistant to the Villain. I gave this 1 star, but like, can you even give it 1 star if you DNF'd it? I'm pretty sure I got about 70% of the way through this book, and that's when I DNF'd it. I just couldn't. Like, I literally cannot explain why this book is so bad. It's just bad. It's a bad book. It's meant to be fantasy. I think it's meant to be funny. I did not find this funny. Okay, the dogs are having a bark off, so we're just gonna roll with that anyway. I tried to record this so many times, and I'm going insane with the amount of noise that's always happening in the background, so we're just gonna roll with it. So yeah, I think this was meant to be funny. I did say on Goodreads why I did not find this funny. I don't know why this got the hype that it did. Honestly, I feel bad saying this, but it's a terrible book. That leads me on to my favorite reads of 2023, Two Twisted Crowns. I loved this series. This is a duology series by Rachel Gillig. It is so good. So good. It's nothing like I've ever read before. Got its own magic system. It's just amazing. Like, it's honestly such a good read. Elm in this one took it home for me. I'm just saying, everything that you would want in a follow-up book to complete the series, Rachel gave. That's why this is my favorite series of 2023. Series actually needs to have way more hype than what it does, because as I said, there's a reason I'm saying this is my favorite of the entire year. I would give anything to be able to read this for the first time again and understand it for the first time again. Speechless. Both of them for me are 100% 5-star reads. Wait, there's actually 2 more books that I read this month. We have The Summer I Turned Pretty. Now, everyone's probably watched this show. The show and the book are very different from one another. Very different. I can kind of see why people said ruined it, but if the TV show was made to be exactly like this book, I don't think I honestly would have liked the TV show, because I know it's like meant to be like a teen summer romance, and there's like a lot of aspects of teen in this, but I do not think this show would have been as successful if they made it exactly like the book. I see why people had the conflict that they have. There was a lot of immaturity in a lot of the characters in this. Obviously, they're teenagers. It's meant to be like that. This was a super easy read. I'm pretty sure I gave this maybe like 3.5 stars. Hang on. Yeah, 3 stars, but I would round it up to 3.5 stars. Loved it. I thought it was such an easy read. I'm really glad that I'm reading this series, because I can kind of see the differences between like the show and this, and I kind of like that they're different. It makes me feel like I'm reading something completely new and completely different. I think I would have really liked this when I was a lot younger in my teenage years. I'm still enjoying it now, mainly because it's interesting to see the differences in the show and the book. Crazy, even like in this, you can see how like Ellie was saying about like her best friend and Conrad and all of that. And it's interesting because in this, it's only Ellie's perspective. So are those people doing those things to her, or is she just immature? She can't see past her own kind of like perspective, which is such a teenage thing to do. So I would say Jenny wrote this really, really well because it is like such a teenage perspective. And I think a lot of women would relate to a lot of what Belly's feeling in this. But yeah, it was very good. And I'm intrigued to see the rest of this series. To follow up that, I read King of Pride by Anne Huang. I absolutely loved the first one. This one, I'm not sure. Hang on, I can't remember what I gave this. I gave this 3 stars, and I 100% think this deserves 3 stars. I just didn't really like the love story in this. I didn't really feel like a major connection with the two. I actually felt this was more of a physical connection, whereas the first one was like steamy and a great physical connection, but you could also tell that the two characters cared for one another very deeply. There was an emotional connection there. I didn't feel that in this one. I don't know, I wasn't feeling it. So yeah, Kai and Isabella, 2 main characters in this book. Still good to read. Wouldn't say it's like a standout for this month, especially when you read the first one. Once you read the first one, it's really hard to go to one like this. There was also a scene in this that I didn't like. I think that there should have been probably trigger warning in that. And yeah, as I said, I kind of felt like this was more of a physical connection. There's a lot of smut happening. I just did not feel the emotional connection there. Lastly, I read Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey. I actually only got about 25% of the way through. I have every intention of finishing that in the month of December, which is now. I don't know, you guys. I'm so sorry. I think maybe I'm just like the kind of girl for Christmas books. I just haven't found one I've liked yet. I did start to read that, and then I was like, this book's kind of putting me in a reading slump if I keep reading it. So I'm going to give it another go. I wasn't in the Lou Teal phase when I was reading that, so I don't know if maybe I just wasn't feeling it. I always like to try and give books another chance when I'm feeling a bit more energetic. I'm going to give it another go in December, but that was also another book that I got almost halfway through and was like, yeah, no, not feeling this. I don't know, I guess I didn't feel it to be like overly Christmassy. If I'm like thinking of like a Christmas book, I'm thinking like Hallmark Christmas, and I just didn't feel that in that book. Any Christmas book so far, if I'm being totally honest. I have heard the Christmas Fix by Lucy Score is really, really good though. It's got like red and snowflakes on the cover, so definitely go check that out. I've heard so many people talk about that. Christmas book I really want to read is 'Tis the Season for Revenge. I've heard really good things about that one, so that's been on my list for a while. But we'll see how I go in the month of December. Anyway, that was my reading wrap up, and I hope that maybe you guys got some like good book recommendations out of this. That's why I love doing the reading wrap ups, because it's kind of good. You can see like what books you shouldn't waste your time on, what books are like good investments to buy, because there's nothing worse than buying a book and being like, oh, I hated that book and that was a waste of money. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them, and I'll chat with you soon. Bye.